Hi guys, my name is Pin.Valentine, and this is Catching Up, the show where we put don our black hoods and we engage in the cult of Troyism. It's party time, P-A-R-T-Y, because I gotta. Tonight on my panel we have, as always, Thaddeus Trill, also known as the Young Trillion. He is a musician and rapper. You can find his music on YouTube and SoundCloud. We have a return from Troy again. I'm thinking he might end up being a permanent cast member because he brings on the humor, baby. And then we have our special guest, who is also welcome as much as he wants to come, Christian Anarchist. We just got done with his show, Ask Christian Anarchist. Go to his channel, which I'll put in the description if he so wishes me to do so. And you can go and see me grill him about contradictions in the Bible.
We'll see how that turns out.
We'll see how that turns out. But before we get to anything, Troy, how awesome does Monster Hunter World look?
Looks amazing.
It's incredible.
I mean, I
wait
thought
for that shit to come out.
was for the PC. I thought it was for the PC. Then he said for PlayStation. I was like, wow, Capcom.
It's
Thank you.
PlayStation, Xbox, and later on PC. And in the last episode last week, we said that we thought it was going to be. Oh, shut the fuck up. We thought it was going to be the West version of Monster Hunter Online, and that looks like it's not the case. Monster Hunter Online is still not coming to the West, God damn it. But this is probably the biggest project Monster Hunter has ever done, and it looks fantastic. The gameplay
and it's on
looks fantastic.
Good console.
And it's on good
the
consoles.
graphics are...
I don't know how I feel about taking away the Hunter's arts, though.
I'm very mad because I saw Xbox conference and I'm very upset about the name. Xbox,
no.
The original Xbox 360, Xbox One. Here comes Xbox One X.
Oh, what kind of fucking stupid name is that? Sony's got PlayStation 4 Pro, and then they just put another X in the name. Xbox One X.
It doesn't seem that bad to me.
It's kind of a lazy name.
And it's not in the deal. Like,
well, so is Pro, but
I mean, I don't know.
Microsoft hasn't learned is that nobody's going to buy a console over $500. The hardcore fucking Microsoft fans, yeah. But if I want to buy something over $500, it's going to be a gaming computer.
Exactly. So I guess Microsoft could still get paid in the end because a lot of you people are using Windows. So
yeah, like
Steve Jobs still making his bucks.
Well, if you want a gaming computer, now's the time to do it.
Wrong name, Bill Gates.
The World is coming out on PC too.
Wow, that was weird.
I'm very happy that I'm gonna get the PlayStation VR just for Skyrim.
That looks like it's gonna be cool. And they got Elder Scrolls 6 coming out too.
And when you get tired of Skyrim, you have all the other things you can try in VR. So there you go.
Yeah. Doom. Oh, I can't play Doom.
Could you imagine Monster Hunter in VR? That would be intimidating as fuck.
Japan actually has that in an actual arcade. I was reading about it a couple days ago.
Oh yeah, so it's a thing. It's just not a thing for us.
Yeah.
It's like hugely popular in Japan. Very
the
huge.
whole series is huge popular in Japan. They get most games and we only get a handful.
Card game.
They do got a card game.
Just fucking Capcom just fucking washes our dick. Does not let us go full on penetration with the game.
Well, to be fair, they sell like quadruple in the games that we get in Japan. And it's just not, people aren't buying it here, which sucks.
Yeah.
And I think Monster Hunter World is going to be the game that gets non-Monster Hunter players to play Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
It looks good.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jacksepticeye plays it. Or Markiplier.
All the playthroughs.
The only difference is it's not a storied game. It's a grinding game by definition, so I don't think you'll do a whole shit ton of episodes on it.
I
but-
forgot his name.
I will not
but-
buy the game unless they have an evangelism mode on there.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. There are
Supposedly,
dragons.
a YouTube person got in trouble with porn.
Who did what?
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 A YouTube star got in trouble with child
Oh
pornography.
yeah,
Oh
him.
yeah, that dude.
I don't remember his name, but who cares? Fuck him,
And
he doesn't need
recently, his
publicity.
mom filled him out. I looked up his shit. He sucks.
Yeah, he's a musician who was asking on Facebook and I think some Twitter
Oh,
for
Philip
girls to
DeFranco
send
did
him
that story.
under.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I saw that.
Yeah.
What an asshole! Fuck him.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't remember his name. He doesn't need publicity.
He makes the rest of us musicians look bad. The ones who like to interact with fans. It's like, is that what they all do? It's like, no, it's not what they all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes musicians look bad,
God.
whereas
does.
people like Trill just make music look bad with his music. Now,
Hey, I should have seen that coming.
you should.
Yeah, it's not a
A
spoiler.
mile away. The hidden feature.
Okay.
I got a hidden
Yeah.
feature, but it's more fleshy. No.
There you go. There's an interesting weird trend I've noticed, and apparently I found out from somebody, is that like, and you wouldn't even expect this, like games like what's it called? Grand Theft Auto 5, open worlds, mic using and all that stuff. And you just go around doing what you want, steal cars, kill some people, shoot them up, rampage, all that. But apparently now
Fucking hate online mode. That game online, it's fun until you have a little fucking 8-year-old just randomly. Okay, so you can just park your car, okay, and then like you get like a random 8-year-old just like take
little
your car,
squeaker.
like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
fucking squeakers.
They ruin the games for all of us.
But there's apparently there's groups out there, and a friend of mine that I know who goes by the name of Calvinist Goku is in one of these, and that they basically go around and proclaim the gospel online. I saw. But that's interesting too. Because
Oh God, I would block him right away.
I imagine some people would have that choice to automatically do that. Some would still have a chance to listen. Because I saw someone try to do this on a Call of Duty game, which like you're saying all these verses. I'm like, there's no way you're looking at your Bible while trying to dodge all these shots, and you're playing the way you are. That kid knows how to memorize stuff. So that's what I thought first, and then I'm like, the passion he's going about this while he's trying to play a game as he's doing. I mean, it kind of gives you proof right there. Even people who just put a lot of emphasis on what they're talking about, they're still focused on, trying to shoot you up.
Yeah, and he's beating you. That'd be intimidating.
That would be.
I don't know. I've never, because we get this all the time on Call of Duty Convoy. People always trying to preach the gospel all the time, and they always suck. We're always kicking their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Especially me.
Nah, you suck too.
Come on, man. If
I'm
you're not
better
that
than
good at
you.
the game, just admit it.
No,
Not everybody.
Actually, Troy is really good at the game. He could, if he knew how, he could go pro.
Yeah, not everybody could do the 360 no scopes. It's no. There's
I
no
can't do that.
who gives shits about that? Ain't professional bullshit. You're not. You can't play professionally unless you can work as a team. And
work at a team in a game that barely has any real teamwork because everybody's just trying to get their score up. Okay. I mean, Battlefield, sure, but Call of Duty.
Look, I love Battlefield 1.
who cares about Battlefield? Battlefield sucks.
It's fucking realistic. That's why.
I guess I'm in the minority then.
I don't play games for how realistic they are. I play games the same reason why I read books.
I don't know. I kind of like the team aspect of the Battlefield games, but okay.
And you've never seen Call of Duty World League. Okay. Those team members are really good at working together.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're not just a bunch of squeakers.
True.
Yeah, but for those of us who aren't doing World League, look what we have to deal with. So
Squeakers.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of nights ago, me and my friend, we played against two optic people that were supposedly
Were they
from
really optic?
I don't
They
know. 'cause
probably weren't.
They were just fucking horrible.
Do you remember their names?
I was like, no, like Optic Midnight.
Midnight?
Yeah.
She's legit optic.
Oh. She
Holy
sucks.
shit.
But maybe somebody was just trying
She's
to
not on the
pretend to be
team
them.
right now, but she is legit
No,
optic.
no, dude. She had a mic. It was a girl. I'm like, wait a second. So, I looked up Optic Midnight. I was like, huh, okay, she's real, but she's horrible.
Well,
I
she
can
just
see-
might have had a bad
like-
night. Even professional players have bad nights.
Like I got her, I got her with the tomahawk.
Yeah, even professional players have bad nights. It's not a big deal.
Even those that read Bible verses still have bad nights.
Like Christian, he has bad nights every night.
No,
Oh, okay.
it's just one night where I thought somebody broke into my house.
Yeah, that was a bad night.
Yeah, that was a bad night. I was up till 1 o'clock because I kept thinking someone was scavenging around my cabinets trying to steal stuff.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a cockroach.
I wish somebody would break into my
It was
house.
Pin.Valentine, man. He's a
and get raped.
Which made it worse because my keys were on the couch and I'm like, oh shoot, they're gonna be taking that.
They'll come back tomorrow.
They can have my car. Okay, they can have it. I'll hand them the keys. Here you go. Take it.
Personally, I'm not too much afraid because, I mean, even though a lot of people don't
Got
have
that
a lot of
ninja too.
respect for this self-defense weapon of mine, my self-defense weapons are my knife, my airsoft pistol that I have on hand right about now, and which the BBs
I
are,
just have a dildo launcher.
and a sword from Pakistan. So
I have from my Halloween costume like 3 years ago a cane thing that's like a really heavy metal with a really heavy metal skull at the end of it. I'll just use that.
Mhm.
That's behind the door every day just in case.
there you go.
A bad motherfucker named Dildo comes by.
They walk in here, I'd be like, batter up. Smack him in the balls.
You wanna
Pick up their
fuck
balls and have dinner. You wanna fuck with me?
I don't think you do.
I heard he's dead now.
Ah, good.
That's how Christian Anarchist should have taken care of his intruder.
You wanna fuck with me? You gotta walk out there naked and just go. "Ah!"
Just scare them so much they won't ever want to come back.
There you go.
I'm trying to rub the macaroni on my belly. Leave me alone.
Yvonne,
So no one,
get your son.
me and Penn used to live with this guy. He was my grandpa at the time. Fucking weird.
He's not
This
anymore.
one night, no, he got divorced. This
Oh.
one night, he was at the porch, and me and Franklin's room was right by the porch, and this dude was fucking masturbating outside. Me
And
and
it sounded like that
here.
too. He sounds like the creeper from Scooby Doo. Creeper, creeper.
For some reason, I found I was at Best Buy today with trying to take my client that I work with as a caretaker for. As soon as we're walking into the building, I see a homeless guy outside, and he had like a ton of stuff. He had like a little, those little baby strollers, and he had like a little, what is it? It's like a little pail or something full of something. And then he had just a bunch of other items on there. He was digging into the trash, got a box of Popeye's chicken and started eating it. From the trash.
You gotta eat what you gotta eat.
I was just concerned and
that
worried
hungry.
about the guy. I was just
You're that
concerned, worried
hungry.
about the guy. So I ended up telling the people in the Best Buy about this because, I mean,
No, don't tell them. What's wrong with you?
well,
'Cause they'll just shoo him away.
Well, the thing is, he still stayed there a bit afterward. It's just he just wasn't allowed to, for the display of people coming in or trying to come in the store, not eat or do that in front of the store. But he could still stay there. because I saw the manager talk to him, and he still stayed there.
Well, good then, because I live in a gated community, and just a few days ago I was taking out the trash in the middle of the day, and there's a homeless guy digging in the trash for cans that he can recycle and make a couple bucks on, right? And we're supposed to report them, and I didn't report him. I engaged in conversation. As I was throwing away my bags, there's 2 bags, and I said, "Don't bother with those bags. We don't use cans. We don't have can soda or anything like that."
We use plastic.
I didn't tell anybody because he needs the money. Nobody's recycling those cans. Let him do it. Have fun. Enjoy.
He's helping the earth.
Oh man, yeah, he's helping her doing
Technically, yeah.
You know, the whole spiritual thing. You got to help Mother Nature, man.
There you go.
Because we have a president who hates Mother Nature.
Oh, that sucks. Well, he doesn't know the planet he lives on, man.
He doesn't hate Mother Nature. He's just
dead
dumb
down.
at the moment.
Okay.
That's just the one
nuts.
sad thing.
Ah,
I would not prefer
more people need to
do
go
that.
back to their roots.
I would not prefer.
I like roots.
Anyways.
I mean, we actually have a little bit of a homeless problem here in my city as well. I mean, people that know me and all that would definitely be able to attest to that. There's this one time I was actually got chased by this guy. I'm not even sure if he's homeless right now, but he did look pretty seedy looking. Because I mean, here's the thing. It's like it's one of those people. You know how some people just have that look to them, where it's like I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
if
I
they
get
were
that
homeless.
look from Troy every day.
Oh, see, so it doesn't always mean you're homeless because you could just be Troy. But I mean,
Yeah.
it could have just been Troy. I don't know what he's doing all the way up in Canada, but
Oh, dude, their girls are cute.
that's what you're doing all the way up. Okay.
So, there was only one homeless guy in my life that kind of weirded me out a bit. I was walking.
only
I was
one?
in middle. Yeah, I was in middle school.
Only
and I'm
one?
yeah, right. But I'm walking home. I'm in middle school, and I'm walking home from school, and I like to take different routes home, just for the fun of it. And this particular day, I decided to walk behind a Walmart, and there was a couple of homeless guys there, right? And I'm walking, and I walk past them, and they don't say anything. And I just keep walking. I'm listening to my music, and then the guy calls after me, and I hear him, and I pull down my headphone, and he says, "Come over here."
You
And
pretty.
I leave the headphone out, and I just keep walking away, not really caring much about it. And then he yells after me, "Hey, horny boy!" I'm like, what the fuck?
That would have
I'm
creeped
like
me out.
12.
Internet stats.
What?
I can already see this is going to be
I kind of just
a
want to.
highlight right now.
I kind of just want to yell this on a hangout now. Hey, horny boy!
I'm gonna go on Gary's next hangout and do that. Hey, horny boy. Troy's dying right now. He loves it.
Why is Troy loving dying?
Let
That's
it
not
out,
good.
Troy. Let it out.
I remember this one time.
I'm
Me
concerned
and
about
Penn
where I'm at right
we
now.
were at Walmart and we just fucking. And this guy was taking a shit, and this other guy was like, "The forest is really hopeful in here."
No,
You're
the guy
static,
was
that's what
taking a
happens
shit.
when
You just heard it exploding in the toilet at Walmart.
That's what happens
Just
when you live
hear it
in weird
exploring.
areas.
And the guy's like, "The force is strong in here."
That's what happens when you live in weird areas, man. I mean, I'm not low class myself, but I mean, I've been around enough low class people to know, yeah, weird stuff happens. Weird
And
stuff
then
happens
Troy,
in cities.
remember when we went to the buffet in Reno?
Yeah.
We both were going to take a piss at the same time, and this dude is in the bathroom taking an open stall shit. And like a couple days later, we went back to the same buffet because why not? And I ended up having to take a shit, and I went in that same stall, and it has a lock, so it's not like he couldn't have locked it or closed it. He was just taking an open stall shit.
Well, what happens in Vegas?
It was Reno.
Oh,
Whatever. Either way.
what happens in Reno stays in Reno?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you sure?
Oh man!
Yep, I'm sure.
In the chill back.
For some reason, I was really hungry afterwards. So, Trill, did
That
you
guy-
see my hangout with Gary?
Yes, I did. I was just about to say, before
What did
we
you think about it?
It was interesting. I just about to say before we moved on. Now this could have been my fault as far as the whole homeless thing because I did come out of the bank, so maybe he saw me go in or whatnot, which is why he was pestering me in the first place. I didn't think about that, but I came out of the bank, right, and I was gonna walk across the street, and I was waiting for the light to turn to the walk symbol, and there's this guy beside me, and he doesn't. I don't know if he's homeless or not, but he looks like he hasn't brushed his teeth in a while. He looks kind of shady, so I don't know. But anyways, he wanted to ask. I forget exactly what he said, but he wanted to talk to me. I kind of tried to give like this, I guess, kind of the universal signal that I don't really want to talk right now or whatnot, right? Or I just kind of wanted to respond to him non-verbally, but he wasn't having that. So eventually he tried to make small talk. I was like, I don't want to talk. I just want to cross the street. Leave me alone. But I'm waiting for the light. And then he's like, oh, great. This isn't going to fly. So I basically, we had a little bit of an awkward conversation, and he asked me, where do I work? And the thing is that he must have misunderstood what I said or something, because I told him it was like a retail thing, like some sort of construction things. He says, oh, do you mean those guys? And he pointed across the street where these guys were doing construction. I'm just like, that's not what it is. It's retail. But okay. And then eventually the light turns to the walk symbol. So like, thank goodness I could walk away. But maybe this is my fault because I didn't say goodbye or anything. I just kind of walked off. I was done talking to him. He's like, hey, come back here. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I thought he's just going to leave me alone. I'm just going to walk. But no, I turned around and he's running after me. And I'm like, holy crap, he's actually running. So I start running too. And I'm trying to, and in my mind, I'm thinking, holy crap, this is actually happening. And even though it's a little bit serious, at the same time, I still can't think, this can't still happen like a smile on my face with how just insane the situation is. I passed by the library, which was my first mistake. But the thing is, if you're being chased, you probably want to go somewhere where the person hesitate to try and chase you in there. There's like a big audience that they'll attract. But I already passed by the library. It's like, great, I can't go back there. And so I'm still running to people, and I kind of say like I know it's going to seem like hard to believe, but there's this person who's chasing me, right? There's just these people. It's like maybe they can help me because this guy's coming after me. And instead of being helpful, this is going to be funny. They actually said this. I know it's going to seem like out of a cartoon or something, but they said, "Well, you better keep running then." And I can't help but smile and go, and I can't help but smile and laugh, even in my current situation. Go, yep, you're right. So I actually keep running, and eventually I make it to a hotel where the guy hesitated to try to chase me in there. So yeah, I have been chased by some weird person before. I don't know if he was homeless or what, but
long story short, Trill got raped. Now,
hey, that didn't happen. I escaped.
So you say. Now,
hey.
You got a gaping hole.
Anyways, you were saying, Pin?
What did you think about the little hint?
Some girl goes, free cola.
Those are the crabs that are dancing on his asshole, the rim of his asshole.
I'm just being silent here. I'm saying nothing.
Okay, but no, the hangout you had with G-Man, I thought both of you could have done a little bit better. I mean, you did.
It was not my best. It really wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
And
G-Man
I still don't know
didn't do
why
himself
I
any favors either. So I mean,
you
look better than G-Man in a lot of respects.
Oh well, that's a given. It's hard not to look better than Gary.
That was interesting.
But
I didn't expect you to even go in there because I didn't even see.
Yeah, I really don't know why I did. I don't know. Because in like previous episodes of this show, I mentioned that I don't care if he unblocks me. I don't care if he acknowledges me.
I guess that was a lie.
And then he's doing the hangout, and I don't even remember what the hangout was about. I don't remember the title or anything. And he opens it up for he puts the link in the live chat, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I was compelled to go in there and try to have a conversation with this guy. I don't know why. And then he's a moron. Like he oh shit. And then he like asked me if I read the Bible, and I told him the truth. I said I read it 3 times years ago. Right? I haven't read it in like the past like 5 or 6 years or something like that. And then I openly admitted to him that I have not actively studied it, and I did not memorize any part of it, but I am familiar with a lot of the stuff that are in it. I just couldn't tell you exact verses and stuff like that. So he asked me questions, like the only question I remember him asking was, how are you saved? And I told him it depends on the verse that you read, because different verses say different things. And he wasn't having it. He was saying you're saved by something. I don't remember what he said. I'm pretty sure it wasn't faith alone, like Christian will say. But he was saying something, and I said, okay, what verse? And he wouldn't tell me the verse. And then later, after he asked the 3 questions, he goes, I don't think you even studied this. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? I just told you that I didn't fucking study it. Are you stupid?
Pin, like I don't mean to disrespect you or anything, but I don't think you studied it.
Well, I didn't. I
know you
didn't.
didn't.
I don't claim I don't claim to have studied the Bible.
Hey, Pin.
Hmm.
I don't think you studied it enough.
You know, I don't think I did either. I have this feeling that I never studied the Bible. I don't know what drove me to believe that.
Maybe that you said it, you never did.
Oh, that's what that is. That's what it was. Gee, I wonder if Gary caught on. And then he like I asked. I think he was using Mark, and I don't remember if he was using Mark, but he said that Mark wrote the book of Mark, and I probably said no, he didn't, which isn't what I meant to say.
Or we don't know.
I would have, if I could go back, I would say something along the lines of, how do you know that? Or I don't have any reason to believe that he wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if he did or didn't.
I know
honestly.
he did.
Well, you would. But I don't.
Well, of course, I
don't
actually go to the scholarship.
We're talking about G-Man here, though.
Yeah.
But again,
I don't have any reason to believe that anybody named Mark wrote it. But I don't know for sure if he did or didn't. And I think I said he didn't write it, which is a mistake on my end. And then he goes, how do you go about that? He says right here that he wrote it. And I said, how do you know? Are you going to believe something that he just says? He says, I wrote it, so you're just going to believe him?
Well, where does he say that he wrote it? That's the...
I don't know. He read some verse or other that said something about him being a witness to something. And not that specifically he wrote it, which kind of goes against what Gary says anyway. And again, I don't remember if it was Mark. It might have been. First, now I'm thinking it might have been Isaiah. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't care.
Okay. Because the Gospel of Mark is an anonymous thing, but
I think it's all anonymous.
But the early church, some of whom actually met the apostles, and some of whom are actually mentioned in the New Testament, like Clement of Rome, who's mentioned in Philippians chapter 4. They have mentioned that this is ascribed to a person named Mark. There's debate on which one, because some say it's John Mark, but then others are referring to Mark that was the scholar for Peter in a sense. So there's like there's two different Marks that is mentioned in the New Testament.
Well, and it could be another Mark altogether. Who knows?
The thing is, that's the only thing is in regards to the church tradition as to who the identity is.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't. I don't think we know who the identities of any of the writers are anyway. Well, it could be a Mark. It could be a Mark. I relent to that, but we don't know that for sure.
Well, we do know who it is.
Do we?
But we have the early fathers that are giving this account, and they're going back to this day because they're coming from that era.
What early fathers?
You have Ignatius, you have Irenaeus, Polycarp, Clement of Rome. I mean, those are the people we would identify as church fathers.
And they wrote about this stuff?
They would write in their letters, and sometimes in their citations of scripture, they would even comment on a certain thing, such as the epistle written by, not just saying Mark, but they would say the full name, such as John Mark. Okay,
and when did they write these things?
Well, it depends on which father you're going for.
The earliest. What's the earliest?
The earliest one that we have, there's two earliest that we have, is Clement of Rome, which he has a letter he wrote to the church at Corinth, and then you have Polycarp. These are church fathers that we only have one of their writings of. and that they're about the earliest that we have in regards to the thoughts of the early church.
And when were they?
We can't figure out a specific date. The only thing we know is that it is estimated around the 1st century, because that is when they lived and then when they died.
How do we know that?
Because of the tradition that's ascribed to them of when even their martyrdoms happened, such as what Polycarp is.
So you're going to suggest that these guys lived and died in the 1st century because of a tradition that surrounds them?
It's simply because of what these fathers are saying about them, because they don't just comment on the apostles. They also talk about who the church fathers are, and they help us find out more detail about them. And that's how we're getting our history, especially from Eusebius, who was a historian of the church.
Okay, and how did they find out more information about these 1st century fathers?
Because some of whom were actually people who met with them, such as in Philippians chapter 4, verse 3, it addresses, for example, I'm going to get that verse myself, or it's acting up. It says, "And I entreat thee also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life." So Paul here makes a saying that he traveled and labored with a guy named Clement, and this is the Clement of Rome that is being addressed in his epistle to the Corinthian church. So he traveled and knew Paul, and as a result, he knows who these disciples are, since he's able to been traveled with them in their time during the staging of the early church.
Okay, and when did he write about these first fathers?
And when did who write about the first fathers?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about when Philippians was written.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked too much into the depth. I know it's in the 1st century, but there could be something in my NIV study Bible on that. Let me get it.
It was brief intermission.
Oh yeah. Hey, at least you're getting educated, man. Right? No? Okay.
It's hard to educate Troy.
Right. So they dated about 61 AD.
61 AD. Okay.
Yep.
Now you got that. You know that it's from 61 AD because of your study Bible, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other proof that we can look at right now online that shows that?
Mm-hmm. In the study Bible, it notes where we're getting the clues from, which is saying that he wrote the letter from prison, and some have argued that the imprisonment took place in Ephesus, which would have been around 53 to 55 AD. Others put it in Sisera.
What's the prison's name? What's the prison's name?
The prison or the person?
The prison.
He said that he was imprisoned, possibly imprisoned in Ephesus.
Spell that.
EPHESUS.
Okay, let's see what it has to say here. I'm pulling up the first link that I see first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
And where was it?
Well, as some people suggested, it was been in Ephesus, which is EPHESUS.
Okay.
But again, that's just what some people have suggested.
Fucking balls itch.
I'll
Very
scratch them
random
with my
comment
teeth
to hear.
later.
Dear Lord.
What are you laughing at?
What do you call a gay cowboy? A Jolly Rancher?
What do you call a gay midget?
What?
A low blow.
Well, at least
Maybe.
someone's entertaining themselves.
Uranus.
All right, I'm trying to just scan through this for information
It's hard,
as
isn't it?
best as I can. There's a lot of information here, so
I bet Troy doesn't help. Don't worry, he's trying to listen. It's hard.
But according to most people, though, they would.
Fake an orgasm. Back.
okay. Oh my God, Troy.
Troy.
Relax. That's what I got him on here for. Now, I'm looking at this, and it does seem to indicate that Paul would have been imprisoned there around the 50s AD.
Right.
They estimate here from 52 to 54.
Right.
But they're not showing anything that would prove it. They just say that he was there. And that's not enough.
Right. And so that's why there's not too much emphasis or evidence that some people go to on that, which is why most people say that it was imprisoned in Rome, especially in regards to Acts 28, which talks about him arriving there and then getting imprisoned, which is where he would write a good bit of his epistles from, since he wrote Philippians while he was in jail. What?
Boy. Oh my God.
What is one gay? Well, I know I will be baptizing myself with holy water for a shower before I go to bed tonight.
Careful, Troy didn't get to it because it ain't so holy no more. Now,
then it's Troy water.
Okay, so we can't just. So you don't seem to be able to establish that he did write anything in effect. Can't say it now. In the prison, because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of evidence for it. What else do we know? How do we know that anything was written in the first century then?
Well, simply the dating of which these people, where these writings would have come from.
How were they dated?
Well, we date them not just based upon the fact of simply the church tradition, how they're able to tell us where these come from, but also in regards to, say, Clement of Rome and Polycarp. They would quote these verses, and when it shows that a first century individual such as Clement of Rome and Polycarp is quoting these works, that tells us that that was around during their time. And that...
Okay. When did they say that? When did they reference these verses again?
Well, let me pull up First Clement, and we'll go into one of them. So let me go to New Advent for that one. All right. So, trying to see if it'll show the... Okay, there we go. Because sometimes they don't show the scriptures references that they get. Okay. All right. So we don't have Clement quoting Philippians, but he did quote Ephesians. So let me pull up Polycarp.
Just warning you, Pin, these aren't the run-at-the-mill Christians you can just easily defeat, so this might take a while.
How do you spell Polycarp?
It almost kind of how it sounds, like the Pokemon thing, Polycarp. There's actually been a joke we've made about the Pokemon involved in that evolves into a Polycarp.
Okay, and I see that he died in 155 AD. He was born in 69.
That's an early year.
That is an early year. He would have been 31 when the century turned over.
Yeah, in Polycarp's letter, he quotes Philippians.
What did he say?
Well, let's see. In his introductory greeting, he's praising them and says, I have greatly rejoiced with you in our Lord Jesus Christ because you have followed the example of true love as displayed by God and have accompanied and has become you, those who are bound in chains, the fitting ornaments of saints, which are indeed the diadems of the true elect of God and our Lord, because the strong root of your faith, spoken in days long gone by, endures even until now. And it says that he's getting this from Philippians 1:5, which says, let's see here. So full a part have you taken in the work of Christ from the day when it's first reached unto you from now. But that's not exactly the thing we get the quote from. Let's see. Go down to the bottom here. This do in the assurance that all these have not run in vain. Philippians 2:16.
Okay, and when did he write these? Because I'm looking at it here and it doesn't give me a date.
All right, well, let's take a look here. Okay. Polycarp.
Let me do a calculation real quick. I just want to see something.
All right.
The
There we go.
long and winding road.
All right, it's an epistle composed around 110 to 140.
Okay, I have a problem.
Okay.
He wrote it from 110 to 140, which is okay if he spoke to somebody who had seen and witnessed Jesus, right?
Right, and he actually
He
he was a student of one of the apostles.
Okay.
He was a student of, if I'm trying to, it says here he was taught by John the apostle.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now normally I would say, because he didn't write anything about Jesus while he was alive or right after his death, I would have a problem with it. But if he was a student of an apostle, then that's different.
Mhm.
Here's the problem I have. How old was John when he was with Jesus?
How old was John when he was with Jesus?
Do we know that? We would have to assume that he was in his 30s at least, right?
Probably yes.
Okay. Because that's about how old Jesus was. He was about 30 years old, something like that, when he died, right?
Right. Some people say 30, some people say 33.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's fine. So we're expecting John to be at least 69
Mhm.
when Carpi was born. Give
Probably,
it another 15 to 20 years after Carpi's birth. You're looking at somewhere around 89 for him to be a student of John, right?
probably yes.
It's kind of a long life for somebody in the first century, don't you think?
I mean, I'm sure they managed to survive. I forget how John dies, but I know that the one thing that ends up killing them is the martyrdom that happens.
Mm-hmm.
He drinks
And I
the
don't
holy
know
water.
how John ends up passing out.
Yeah, so I have a problem with this because people were not expected to live longer than about 50, 60 years old at the time.
Hmm.
So I have a problem with that. We have to have reason to believe that John lived that long before we can establish that this Carpi guy actually spoke with him.
Hmm. Well,
So otherwise, I say that Carpi probably read something that somebody else wrote,
hmm.
or it was more than likely word of mouth,
Hmm.
something that he had heard somebody say or talk about, something that he might have actually studied without there being anything written. Because as far as I know, we have nothing written about Jesus within the first century.
Mhm.
So I cannot believe that this Carpi guy was a student of John if we're expecting a man in the first century to live past 50, 60 years old.
Hmm. So then what about people like Philo of Alexandria?
What about him?
Well, he was around during the same time, and in fact, he was born 25 BC, died 50 AD, and
How do you spell his name?
Philo not F Philo.
Of
And he-
Alexandria.
Philo of Alexandria. He was a Hellenized Jew, and he was a philosopher, and he lived to be 75 years old.
Also
There you
called
go.
Philo Judaeus. Born 20 BCE to 50 CE. He died at 30 years old.
He died
No,
at
he
30.
did. Never mind. BCE to CE. That's
No.
more than 30 years old. Let me see.
Hey, Jew.
So he lived to be about 50 years old. No, what am I talking about? He lived to be 70 years old. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So he was a little over that 60-year-old limit,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's still around the same age range, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to give a big credence to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that when I looked at the whole thing and checked it in regards to Polycarp and John would have probably been, in regards to checking his born thing, which they say the tradition holds to him being born in 6 AD. He would have been 63 by the time he ends up talking to Polycarp.
No, not if we're looking at the ages that I was just given. Polycarp was born in 69 AD,
Mm-hmm.
which means
Yeah.
John would have to be at least 69. But if he was in his 30s, there's a good chance he was probably older.
Mm-hmm.
At a time where, I mean, Philo seemed to get lucky at 75 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting two different birth dates for Philo here. 70 to 75 from what I'm getting here.
70 to 75.
Yeah, because one, it's in the same page. One says 20 BCE, one says 25 BCE.
And it's one of those estimate things that not too many people are sure of.
Yeah, and that's another problem I have with a lot of these ancient people are pretty much estimated.
Well, I mean, we don't have enough of the works to be able to, or any much information about them to pinpoint and narrow it down.
It's hard to
as
keep
much.
track at that time. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we would still have to assume that John lived that long.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a safe way to, and think it's safe to assume it too.
Well, let's see how. Let me see how safe it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a brief intermission. It's brought to you
Oh
by
yeah.
condoms.
There you go.
There you go. There's your intermission, and we're back. A lot of commercial breaks.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's like now a word from our sponsors, Troy.
Troy, what is our advertisement for the day?
The King James Bible. Go out and
Dildo.
order yourself a copy.
Become a King James onlyist.
Read it in full so you can become an atheist.
Read it in full, and you'll be the elect.
Is that how it works?
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Your faith is fully strengthened once you read it all the way, just like I'm about to do.
Well, you'll either end up like Christian Anarchist or end up like Pin. Either
There
way.
you go. It's a toss of the coin, really.
Exactly. So if you're not ready to make such an extreme position in your life, you might want to wait. Really bad at selling things.
We are.
You
We
think?
could never have a sponsor.
Okay, you know what? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm having trouble finding what would be the life expectancy. So I might be wrong about this. Do you happen to know and have proof of what the life expectancy was for the first century?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, because this one hasn't really been much of a issue of discussion that I've had people bring up.
I think it's rather important.
Because to me, if that's because again, that was Philo of Alexandria. We can then try going to, let's see, Josephus. I mean, is it specific? It's what range is it that you're going for on which they could have lived or died at?
Well, from what I see from the 17th century, 1700s, not 17th century, that's the 16th century. Life expectancy was about 35 years old. We can't expect it to be much better in the first century, so I'm going to give it lenience and say about 50.
Mm-hmm. In which area?
The area of the world that these guys would have taught about Jesus, I assume.
So in the Greco-Roman world,
Yes.
of Israel and Rome at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
And Philo lived to be 70 to 75 years old, apparently. Again, still an estimate.
Mm-hmm.
But one guy doesn't prove.
What was happening in the 17th century, though?
I don't know. I'm not a historian.
Right. So that's the thing I think we need to consider as well is what happened, because it's like what Zulu tried to bring up in the discussion earlier, is that he points out that eating meat will cause you to have a short life expectancy. Yet the claims he makes about people who are on a vegetarian type of diet, I know people that eat meat, and they live just about as long as he claims the vegetarians live.
Okay,
it's about
but we
how
also have modern technology for all that.
Right. But the thing is
medicine
how
and
do you right, and how you treat yourself and how you take care of your body, exercise, all this kind of stuff is taken into consideration. So that my point is that we would focus on more than just one factor, and I think the environment in which they are in.
And there's a problem with Philo now. I'm looking more into Philo, and he's estimated to have been born between 20 and 10 BC, which is a factor of 10 years, which is major, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And
again, it's still an estimate.
It's an estimate based on something he said in one of his writings where he considered himself old. That's all he said, was that he considered himself old. So people are assuming that he's old. So his estimate could be completely and utterly wrong. So we don't know exactly how old Philo was when he died.
Well, the thing is, then where do we get the death? That's the point.
No, that's estimated too, because there's a couple people here who estimate his death to be somewhere around after 41 AD. So his birth is a complete fucking mystery. Damn it, stop it. His birth is a complete fucking mystery.
Right.
And his death, as much as a mystery as it is still estimated. Mm-hmm. Just not quite as mysterious.
But regardless of where the birth and the estimation is on birth and death, limits in which he's given alter in any very significant way.
Yes, if he was born in 10 AD and still died in 50, then he would be 65. But if we take this shorter estimate of 41, then he would be 55.
All right. So if he goes to the shorter range, so then that's it.
Yes, if we go with the shorter range. Okay. But we can't use any of these ranges, though, because we don't know when he died or when he was born. These are all estimates based on something he said by considering himself old.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that's the only thing that the scholars and the historians are basing the statement on whether he was born or died in a certain thing. There's a whole lot of other things to consider, such as when he wrote, who the associates were of his that talked about him and all that.
Philo's dates of birth and death are unknown, but can be judged by Philo's description of himself as old when he was part of the delegation to Gaius Caligula in AD 38.
And this is on the Wikipedia?
That's what I'm using for now at the moment, yeah. It's the first link that comes up. It's the first link I'm using first.
How do you spell that, Gallica?
Caligula? You don't know how to spell Caligula? C-A-L.
It's been a while since I've been there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's see. Trying to find the statement. All right, so there we go. And it gives a source. Jewish history professor Daniel R. Schwartz estimates his birth sometime between 20 and 10 BC.
Mhm.
Philo's reference to an event under the reign of Emperor Claudius indicates that died sometime after 41 AD, so meaning that it has to be somewhere after 41 AD
Could be
for his
42.
death. Could be. Exactly. So Daniel Schwartz in Philo, His Family and His Times, which is a biography about Philo that was published in 2009.
Okay, so we still don't know how old Philo.
Mhm.
Yeah, we still don't know how old Philo was. We don't know when he was born. We don't know when he died.
Right. No historian will claim to know for accuracy the things. All we know is that there are certain estimates. I mean, that's almost for any ancient historical figure
Right.
of antiquity.
No, that's completely fair, but we can't claim that he lived to be 75 years old if we don't know that he did.
Right. Again, he's not the only person to go to on them issues. I mean, we have, again, people like Josephus.
I don't want to hear about Josephus
37
or
AD.
Tacitus. I'm tired of hearing them.
37 AD, died in 100 AD, and gives him about 63 years, at least based on the Wikipedia
Was
article.
Josephus the one I was talking about yesterday?
Which one?
Uh,
On what?
Trill.
You're talking about someone, yeah, Josephus. Yeah, that was the one you're talking about.
Well, what about Josephus?
Hold on, let's see if if I'm guessing right on this.
Dear Lord.
And after we look into Josephus, we're going to end this particular part of the conversation because we do technically only have about 2 minutes left, but I'll go a little over so people can get in what they want. So let me look into Josephus real quick. Sing for us, Troy.
He already did.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to hear about Josephus because, as I expected, out of the two, he was the one where what he wrote about Jesus can be considered as possibly being a forgery.
Right. And that depends on which the source you get it from, because there are two different quotes of it. One we get from Eusebius, who in his trying to transliterate the whole thing, he does end up interpolating some things that Josephus never said in his original copy, such as, if it be lawful to call him a man, he was the Christ, because Josephus is a Jew. Why is he mentioning these things if he's that? So the only part of the quote that does not contain the forgeries that we can know about based upon the various manuscripts of Josephus's antiquities, which even includes the Arabic copies and all those, was that there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, for he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such man, as received the truth with pleasure. He drew over to him many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. And when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men among us, had condemned him to the cross, those that loved him at the first did not forsake him. And the tribe of Christians so named from him are not extinct at this day. That's it without the interpolations. There's no mentioning of the resurrection. There's no calling him of the Christ, and that there is no calling him that if it be lawful to call him a man.
Pretty much, yeah, if it's not a forgery.
Right, and that's the one without the forgery, because there's two different editions. The one that's being referred to as the forgery is the one that we get because of Eusebius, who tries to bring in him in that case. But the Josephus scholars have some debate on the issue on this matter, but some people think that there's like 13 people that think it's this is at least in a book by Louis H. Feldman, who was a leading Josephus scholar. And he took a whole survey of the surrounding Josephus scholars. The thing, 4 scholars came back regarding the passage as a complete, genuine passage. 6 accepted as mostly genuine. 20 say that it contains some interpolations. 9 say it has several, and only 13 of them say that it's a total interpolation. So there's a bit of a divide on the matter, but the fact of the matter is, with the manuscripts we have of not just the Greek, but the Arabic and the others of this particular work, we get what we're seeing here. And the one rule about textual criticism in regards to a written work of antiquity is that the shortest is always the original, especially in regard to the date of which you find the manuscript.
Okay, so with so many ifs and buts, for Josephus, I can't consider him an authority on anything regarding Christianity.
The only thing he's just simply stating is that there was a person that was killed under the Roman rule at that time. Nothing more. He's not saying that Jesus was the Christ, wasn't claiming the messiahship of him, just simply that there were a group of Christians that considered him such, and that he was killed under Pontius Pilate at that time.
If that can be reliable.
If what can be reliable is statement or just the
statement
idea? Okay. Well, I mean, the scholarship is there in regards to what he said.
Scholars can be wrong.
Mm-hmm. But then what qualifications can you then disprove the notion and say that it is simply a forgery?
Oh, I'm just going on the fact that there are scholars who consider it to be a forgery. Mm-hmm. And if they're, because of the fact that he doesn't seem to reference that own work anywhere in the rest of the same work, never references that particular part, and the fact that what he was writing it in seemed to have nothing to do with anything about that topic.
In regards to Antiquities of the Jews.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't consider him in any way to be an authority on Christianity or the historicity of Jesus.
Well, I don't say he was an authority on Christianity, but as far as him mentioning
authority in the fact that they exist, or that Jesus existed, is what I mean.
Right.
I know that's not exactly what we were talking about, but it's kind of where I'm at.
Right. Well, I don't think I can see any problem with where, Josephus is at on this.
If it's a forgery, then it's a lie.
Yeah, but again, the manuscripts that show that this has existed back before Eusebius even mentioned it. I mean,
okay, if it's a forgery,
the written material is there, but how then can you demonstrate that it's a forgery when the only thing that's accused of being a forgery is because he's saying because he was the Christ and all this stuff? That's the only claims that people saying that it's a forgery, is that it's because it'd be odd of Josephus to write about this and then say he was the Christ and all that stuff, that he's using Christian language.
No, that's fair. Yeah. So when did he write that?
So Antiquities of the Jews, that says that it was in book 18 of that particular collection of work. So go into Britannica.com.
What was that called one more time?
I'm looking at the book is called the Antiquities of the Jews. It's not giving me a date. There we go. Let's see here. Possibly sometime around AD 93 or 94, as noted by David Noel Friedman because it said it was possibly around during the 13th year reign of Emperor Flavius Domitian.
Okay, let's see what it says.
Mission is brought to you by, because you don't need one.
Wait, what?
What?
Hey, you cut it out.
You cut out a bit, so
Oh, intermission is brought to you by a doctor.
well, it better be Doctor Strange.
It better be Doctor Strange, the atheist.
I can't wait.
In my universe,
Oh, hang
he's
on, not in
he's a
that
Reformed
universe.
Calvinist.
I can't wait for Infinity War because he was caught on the set. Can't wait.
Okay, yeah. What I'm reading here on the manuscript, the long version of it has become known as the Testimonium Flavianum,
Mm-hmm.
which if we go back to what I was just reading about forgeries,
Right, I agree. The long version that was found is a forgery.
well, the long version of it is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Well, I don't
more
see
to
how.
it. If it's a long version of it, it's the same thing, just a longer version of it.
In the shorter one, he doesn't mention anything about Jesus being the Christ, or doesn't give him any recognition involving any behavior or attitude as a Christian would. He simply is referring to it from a historical standpoint as a Jew.
Let's see. Okay, according to this, the only thing that he ever said about Jesus was in the Testimonium Flavianum, the long version,
Mhm.
which means it's a possible forgery.
Well, I'm looking at the shorter one, and it's saying that it's mentioning Jesus.
Show me,
All right, let me get that out.
because I can't see anything on that.
Okay, chapter 3. Is it in book 18, right? Yeah. Chapter 3, sedition of the Jews against Pontius Pilate concerning Christ and what befell. Hang on a second. Let me check to see if this ain't the Flavium added. See, book 33. Not great. This is the one that contains it. Let's see. Sacred text.
Troy, what are you giggling at?
That's my question.
He's always giggling at something, and you know when he's giggling, it's good.
Have you heard of the family of Feud?
Who hasn't?
Seriously.
Well, this lady does what time of the month does a woman look pregnant? And this lady goes September.
Wait, we'll see. Oh, December, yeah. Dumb bitch. I've always liked the Upine.
The poor cute.
Name a word that always follows pork. Upine.
Loin.
Or I like the question he asked. Name one of the 7 dwarves that your wife can be described of in bed.
Mopey.
Mine would be Grumpy.
Yeah, Jared Tiny dig off my ham.
Where's my link, Christian?
Well, so far it seems that they're going based upon the Greek version, which is including the longer testament, which I'm surprised they aren't having a copy of it in the shorter version. They do that with some of the church father writings.
So far, it's a possible forgery, which means it can't be counted as true.
No, not really, because again, we're having to take into consideration what I said earlier about the manuscripts.
Say that again.
because I said like earlier, we had to take into consideration of such things such as the manuscripts about the thing that go earlier than what is mentioned.
Well, let's see. We'll have to go into another conversation about that then, because what I'm seeing right now is I have no reason to believe that anybody wrote anything about Jesus in the first century as of right now.
Well, he wasn't even alive during the first century, so.
Who?
Josephus.
According to this, he was.
Where?
Go back here. Well, according to this, the antiquity of the Jews was written in the first century.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, I'm being stupid right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's a forgery, then the particular part about Jesus might have been written later. Which, if it's a forgery, it would have to be written later. Kind of how things work. Now, so we'll get into discussion about whether or not anything was written in the first century on a later date. I'll talk to you after the show about that. But we are about 12 minutes over time. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Anybody got anything else, Trill?
I don't really want to talk about it anymore. I mean, the show's kind of dead now.
I'm okay with that. Who cares? There's still people here watching.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of got bored of it.
Because
you guys were just talking about Bible, and it's like, yeah, I just drown out.
And that's why Christian was a guest on the show. But I'm glad he was here. Thank you, Christian.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right. Well, I'm going to drop. What, Troy? You are really quiet. We can hear your bag of chips over you. All right. Well, I'm going to drop you guys off here. Thank you guys very much for watching. Tune in next week for our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to get.
If you like the show, give that like button a tickle. I'll appreciate it.
And subscribe so you can get notifications when it comes again.
Got to do all that stuff or else you can't see our show. It's going to end up being a rule sometime in the next century. I know it. Well, links to everybody's social media.
It shouldn't be so boring next time.
It's boring to you, entertaining to me. Links to everybody's social media, should they want to give me their social media, is in the description below. Go ahead and check them out. There was a joke before. Trill probably makes good music to you. But we'll see you guys next time. Later.